Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on right after this song. Tommy Torettic. See, I don't like doing this, but I'm gonna teach you a little bit about the world. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to the shop of Anonymous. I swear I don't want anything to do with this, I promise this. You hear me screaming from the top, I'm dropping knowledge. That barrel's too far gone for a rookie, so I'm calling this game over for you. Like a dragon's or your power coming through. Yeah, I'm working 3 jobs so that I can frack that crew. The money you dummy in front of no honey can take that love from me. Going to the future and never coming back. Marty McFly now more like his dad. Trying to be calm, all this news is just whack. Propaganda flying, so know everybody mad. Empathy is gone, so we all for attack. If you disagree, you're just stupid and sad. Use intolerance, so must be smoking crack. Ignorance is bliss, y'all, just a dyad. 2 sides of the same coin, killer. Why we ever stop living up for pillars? Acting like everything in life must be a thriller. We living in a world written by Frank Miller. Cause the Dark Knight's return, so now we churn. See our heroes messed up and now we spurn them because it pisses us off and now we burn their careers alive to the ground. Cause we yearn to be in that position so that we earn millions and millions and millions. But then we turn it to the and we refer to the lines that we rehearse. Spread love and forgiveness only to sing deeper. What did we learn? Extract myself from the world. Water, earth, fire, air, swirl. Bend it to your will, then hurl. Flying buffalo, why don't you give it a whirl? Grab a saber, then just twirl. Force cut a pear, give her a pearl. Power unleashes a churl. Join the dark side with me. Guess it's time I get back to work. Captain of my own enterprise, call me Kirk. Anger and depression always seem to lurk. Round every corner, so I write this just a perk. Everybody moved up, cause we screwed up. Living in a country where we shoot up. Anybody disagree, just to move up the food chain where you grew up. Otherwise they beat you down cause you used up. Time to boot up, new mindset program. Think you knew us, but you shoe us. You only care about us to subdue us, just to screw us. Living in a country full of Judas. Stab you in the back, USA or Brutus. Convolution. Bringing out the Dark Knight, now we tuned up. Time to scoop up any positivity. While the masses all have clueless. They can only catch your speed, Mr. New One's opportunist. Leave them naked in the ground, talking ruthless. I am ruthless. Visions full of kid grown ghoulish, broken ruthless. Spitting problems like emphatic or Nostradamus. Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop. The only place where you can get your official merchandise for the Lights of Thunder Action podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, and masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the Lights of Thunder Action podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you, and have a Thor-tastic day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 35 of Lights, Thunder, Action, where every week we discuss all things DC, Marvel, Star Wars, and the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, aka the son of Dale.
And my name's David Thompson, and today we've got a big show for you guys. Of course, save it for the end. We are talking Mandalorian Chapter 14. Can't wait. We got a lot to discuss on that. But before then, we've got a lot of news this week. One being, our movie theater's dead.
Yes.
Little tease for later. Yeah, we'll get there. But we got that news coming from Warner Brothers and HBO Max, possibly putting theaters in the grave. We've got Hawkeye news. We've got Star Wars news. A lot going on. Thomas, good evening. How are you doing?
Good. Hello there. Before we jump into that, that's a new intro, and we got to give a big shout out to our brother Josh Bauer of JBauerArt. He made that for us, and just
I love
it. Mind blown, dude. Absolutely love it. I forgot how good it was until I hit the button. I was like, oh yeah, it's like wicked good.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love it.
So good, David. I'm doing well. I am tired. I don't get days off anymore, man. And like,
it is a Monday. Yes.
I keep earning more and more and more work with entertainment and editing, and I just need to start getting paid for it because your boys got bills to pay. But I'm alive, Brennan. We've made it.
Yep.
How are you? You just came off work. Like, work pushed our show back tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm doing well. Work was work. It's Monday. Can't rely on a Monday, can't rely on a Monday to go well. But yeah, I'm all good. Happy to be here, really. I'm excited for today's show. I have a lot to talk about when it comes to the news, because I love the news and I love to talk about that. And I don't know, life's going all right. It is what it is, but I'm happy to be here on its Monday evening with you. So there you go. Thomas, what have you been watching this week? Have you been watching anything?
I watched Mando,
of course,
and I mean, naturally, I've seen it 2 or 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
I watched a lot of Fortnite. My nephews came over. They stayed the night. They played Fortnite. So if I end up jumping in and out of it's because they killed all my Wi-Fi data, basically.
Right.
Which, by the way, it's supposed to be unlimited, but we're not going to get into a fight now, are we? Wowway. No, because you'll lose. I have been watching, more importantly than everything, is possibly, I don't know. I always forget how good this movie is until I watch it again. Easily one of my favorite movies of all time, Tommy Boy.
Nice.
It is perfection, man. Like, it's so good. I love it. My nephews had never seen it, and I was like, you guys will understand why I am the way I am. And they were like, yeah, now we get it. Like, yep, we see it now.
Right.
David, what have you been watching or listening to anything? Like,
yeah, so obviously watch Mando, of course. I've been blowing through The Office before it gets off Netflix. I won't finish it before it gets off probably, but it's going on Peacock, which is like free with ads, so it won't be a big deal, honestly. Like, people upset about it leaving Netflix. It sucks because everyone has Netflix and no one has premium Peacock, but you can still watch it on Peacock for like quote unquote free. But so I'm going through The Office just like when I'm looking to relax, because it's work and life. It's just like such a relaxing show to me because I've seen it multiple times, and I don't know. So I'm watching The Office, nothing crazy. I also, my friends have been trying to get me to watch anime for literally feels like eternity now, and I've watched some. Nothing's really took, but the new Attack on Titan series or season's coming out soon, and they finally got me to watch the first. I'm like an episode and a half into it. I think you would like it, Thomas. Actually, it's like MA, it's like TV MA. It's so other animes to me feel similar. Like I liked the one show, One Punch Man, which is like a satirical show. I don't know if you've heard of it. We talked about it once when The Rock might be being in a live action series for it, a live action movie. It was a quick hit story months ago. Trust me, it's in the archive somewhere. But anyway, it's like the tone is very serious. The story's super interesting, and like honestly, it in a way it feels like an HBO show, even though it's an anime. And I really dig it so far, which is to the great happiness of my friends who've been trying to get me to watch anime literally forever.
And that's Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan, yeah, it's on Hulu.
Aren't they like naked with no genitals?
Yeah, so like the Titans are these giants. It's like the story is good though. So far, and I don't even know anything about it really. I'm just at the beginning. Like my friends are saying, like, oh my gosh, you don't know anything yet. So I started watching that. So that I actually have something to report, and I think I'm actually going to stick with this one. Which I normally don't stick with them too often. But there's like 60 episodes total before this final season comes out. So I'm here. And yes, Thomas, or not Thomas, Kevin.
Oh,
The Office is the best. I love The Office so much.
I also love The Office. You know, The Office is so good that you don't even have to like watch it. You can just listen to it.
That's true.
Which, speaking of David, where can everyone listen to the audio version of our podcast?
So if you guys think we're the greatest and you don't even have to watch our ugly mugs, you can go find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and our hosting site, Spreaker. You can find us all there. All 34 episodes are up now. I finally caught up. You know, I was slacking for multiple weeks. I got all the episodes up. So up until this point, all of the episodes are up there. All of our interviews, go check them all out on all those services for our full audio podcast of this show. Check out probably Wednesday. You'll see the audio podcast for this episode going up. So check us out there. Thomas, what else you got for me?
Every week we go live here on our Facebook page of Lights, Thunder, Action Show, as well as the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. We also have an Instagram, which you should follow at Lights, Thunder, Action, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces. We're on Twitter at LTA Podcasting, action verb of an ING at the end. And of course, we have our own YouTube channel where we have, we post some clips there sometimes. That is Lights, Thunder, Action, ! On YouTube. And soon, once things like settle the frack down,
Oh, speaking of which,
we will probably be going such like Thor's thoughts and all of that.
Totally.
That brings us to our first ad break, and I have to answer this phone call from my nephew. Answer the phone. Reels and Heels is a podcast that discusses movies, television, wrestling, and more. With a rotating guest list of friends and filmmakers alike, Reels and Heels salutes the creative arts of all kinds. Join Brian Winzeloff and Nicole Jobin live every Saturday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Reels and Heels.
And we're back. So Thomas is on the phone. I'm going to kick off our news. We'll get to the What the News intro in a bit. But we have our first What the News story coming. This isn't news. We've kind of known this for a while. We do have some news. Hawkeye is on the way. And Kate Bishop is real, and it is Haley Steinfeld. Thomas, you want to hit us with the What the News?
Oh, I'm sorry, everybody.
You were good.
What the news? That's why I don't have kids, man. Because you got to answer the phone when they call, because it can always be life or death.
Now we're really here. All right. So Hawkeye has begun filming the Disney Plus series that I am super excited for now after seeing all these. So there's been some set photos leaking. We're all dying for MCU.
Did you see the new ones that came out today where there's like street performers in costumes of the Avengers?
Oh, no, I didn't.
And you know how we got we're getting the comic accurate suits for Wanda and Vision.
Right.
Well, I think
costume form.
I think we're getting for Thor a comic accurate because they have a big silver helmet on that looks exactly like the animated show silver helmet and how he had like those Disney versions of them. So I'm very I was already excited, and then they're like Haley Steinfeld, and I was like, oh, okay, I love Haley Steinfeld. Hopefully she sings because I love that.
I mean, that's like the biggest, most obvious news out of this whole thing is that Haley Steinfeld is, which is funny because it's still technically not official, but it is official that she is Kate Bishop because Disney and Marvel Studios has still not officially announced her as Kate Bishop, but she's basically, she subtly and kind of, she basically Instagram posted that she is in one way or another. Go check out our Instagram for that. And now we're seeing her in the flesh and blood in these set photos as Kate Bishop alongside Jeremy Renner. So this is awesome. Another piece of the Hawkeye coming out of the Hawkeye set photos. They've completely started production now. So we're getting some confirmations of some new characters that are going to be introduced in Hawkeye. So characters like Echo, Swordsman, and more. Hold on, let me see the exact list. Clown. Oh, right. Did you see that? Did you see the photo of Clown? by chance?
I did not see the photo.
I'm not
Round face.
I'm not familiar with the character actually. But it's creepy looking clown guy is supposed to be in the show. That's all I have. And then also one note I wanted to point out was another part of this is that there's a lot to break down with Hawkeye. We have a bit of a wrap up here. Florence Pugh, who is playing Yelena in Black Widow movie, that whenever that releases, is reportedly also in Hawkeye. I think we talked about this a bit last week. But,
I think we did discuss this last week.
Yes, there's part of it. So that's an interesting tie-in, of course. Boys see throughout. And then also, I'm very familiar with this actress, but I'm not sure if I'll nail her name. Vera Farmiga. Farmiga? Yeah. She was in the latest Godzilla movie. And she's also in Bates Motel, which my girlfriend watched, and I remember seeing her in that, and she's really good. And she's supposed to be Kate Bishop's mother, Eleanor. So look out for that. Oh. Yeah. So Thomas, haven't really gotten your thoughts. You saw all this, Hawkeye, it's coming, right? Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld, it's real. Oh, other side note, it's apparently set in 2025. Take that for what it is. What were your thoughts?
Finally. I'm excited. I think you sent me that, like, she made that post, or it was a tweet or whatever.
Yeah, the Instagram.
And all it was like arrow, heart, something, and I was like, oh snap!
Yeah,
and like the very next day. Yeah,
see you next week, and like then next week, like they started filming. Right?
Yeah, and then it was like the next day she was on set with the arrow, the bow in her hand. So wicked cool. I love Haley Steinfeld. But I mean, nobody knows I exist. Do I even exist? Are we about to get existential? No, we're not. Shock Top, sponsor our show. David, I don't really have a lot on that. As you can tell. What do we got? Oh, you know what? Here's what I'm excited for. We get to see, if Marvel's good at predicting the future. Right? If we are set in 2025, are they going to talk about the coronavirus? Like, they have the opportunity now. Just imagine, what if COVID never happened because of the snap? What if we live in one of those 1,605 or 14,605 realities where the snap, we just lose? What if we're in the losing reality?
Right. I mean, what's we're losing right now?
LOSE, lose. I had an idea and I was going to segue there, but you know what's been predicting the future since 1977? The Star Wars, baby, the Star Wars. This is going to be a star. And there's big rumors about the Star Wars.
There is. So the report initially came out from Cinelinx. That's how you. Yeah, sure. Cinelinx. Go check them out. They shared a report saying that they apparently were getting so the High Republic is coming next year. We're gonna talk about it a bit later in the news, but the High Republic, we're getting novels, we're getting graphic novels, audiobooks, all that good stuff. I think that's what all is planned for. There's a couple novels,
everything
comic.
Except there's novels, young adults, comics,
and it starts January next year.
There's a what was that?
It starts January of next year, I believe.
January 5th. High Republic Light of the Jedi comes out.
Yeah.
And I think that same week the first comic drops as well.
So this report was saying that 3 new animated series in various stages of development at Lucasfilm are in various stages of development, and that one of which would be set during the High Republic era. And they even said that whispers of a potential live action series that will be focused on the High Republic, but they're not sure, and it's still in the works, and we really don't know. So,
yes.
And the thing is, too, they're actually, I think the embargo on the High Republic books recently lifted.
Nope, the 14th or 15th of this month.
Okay, yeah, so they get lifted soon. Even though they haven't been lifted yet, I thought I saw something like kind of teasing that they're good. That the first book is good. It's a cool
I've heard that as well. I've heard that it's like the first 3 chapters isn't a book; it feels like a movie because you're getting so much info about the characters right off the bat, and it's like, and they said, there's no way this doesn't lead to a movie, right? Because of what they're designing, and it's. Star Wars is really getting to when Disney bought Star Wars, we were all excited. And then the sequel trilogy came out, and everyone was like, pump the brakes, man. Well, really, just Last Jedi, Solo, and Rise of Skywalker came out, and everyone lost their friggin' minds. But when you look at everything they've done, those 3 movies are debatable. I say Rise of Skywalker is the worst of all 5 Disney movies, in my personal opinion.
But yeah,
it's just not Star Wars. It's got some. I don't know. There aren't stakes in that movie at all. Like, that's how I feel. No one really dies. No one ever stays dead, kid. But it's no one's ever really gone. But between the comics and what they've done to bridge those gaps.
No one ever really stays dead, kid.
No one ever really stays dead, kid.
That should have been the line.
Hey, Harrison, can we give you? I don't want to give you a line reading, but can you just say it this?
Yeah. Say a little more bluntly and just kind of.
But the what they've done in terms of building out the universe through comics. And, going back in, Rebels is technically a Disney situation. So they've built the universe in various ways. And I think this will be their first foray into continuing that. But then it's all of this stuff sets up the movie.
Yeah, here's the thing. If we get a live action or even an animated series that's straight to Disney Plus, let's say, I think, here's the thing with just society that we live in. More people are going to watch whatever they come out with than read whatever they come out with. So this could be what is fundamentally what we think of when we think of the High Republic. I'm sure we'll get a lot of characters we've seen. And what I think is so fascinating about the High Republic, I know I'll definitely read the graphic novels. We'll see about the novels. I still have books I want to read before it, but you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm going to get to that. In all honesty, maybe an audiobook. They'll hop on the.
I don't read well, but I listen good.
Right. I love to listen as well. I love podcasts. But the High Republic is fascinating to me. I would love to see it. When they first announced it, I thought the idea was great. I wanted to see movies made out of it or a show, not just books. And the only reason I say that, even though the books and the graphic novels, the comics could be really good, just more people will see it if it's a show, just in general. It'll be more in the zeitgeist, like Mandalorian or even Clone Wars. People go and reference animated shows like Rebels and stuff way more than they do comic books. Even there's a lot of really good Star Wars comics and books, right? So I hope this is true. I'd love to see it be a live action. The High Republic era sounds awesome, the golden age of the Jedi. I think it's all really fascinating. Maybe we can get Yoda. Let's move on.
Well, before we do that, once this news came out, I was like, oh, well, duh, of course they're going to make an animated series of the High Republic, because you got Dave Filoni. And Dave Filoni, sometime last year, they asked about a character. They asked about Ahsoka in Rise of Skywalker, and he was like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not actually 100% sure. I'm playing around in multiple timelines right now. So I kind of have an issue with being able to, I don't want to say something and then realize that we're in a different time period than we're talking about.
Yeah.
And at the time it was like, oh, well, obviously Clone Wars, but now we know Bad Batch and we know he's doing work on Mando. He's setting up Thrawn and Ahsoka in that same time period. So he's working in 5 years after Return of the Jedi. He's working immediately after Revenge of the Sith. And there's, I'm just going to throw this out here now because I noticed it. There's a fan theory going around that the Bad Batch actually smuggled out Grogu. Whether that's true or not, because someone said that we'll see the child in animated form in the Bad Batch a while back. So whether that's true or not, it would be. Could you imagine there? So the fact that there's potentially a High Republic animated series, give it to Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
and Dave Filoni, hire me, please.
Right before I move on to even more Disney news and potential Star Wars news, I think that Kathleen Kennedy, all signs point to her being like, all right, forget what we just did with the sequel trilogy when it comes to how we went about it. I'm going to put Filoni and Favreau at the steering wheel of what we're doing. Because just take what they're doing with The Mandalorian and branch out. We know a Taika Waititi movie is coming who was in The Mandalorian, like played a character in The Mandalorian, also directed a film. So she knows, they're cooking. I mean, Mandalorian's gold. And they're going to want to branch out creators from it and stories from it because they know that's sticking and the audience loves it. And why not? And Filoni is doing a great job. And
Deborah Chow is directing all of Obi-Wan. So
exactly.
It started there. And see, that's the thing that what they did with the sequel trilogy is, they just let Filoni do whatever he wanted in Rebels. And that's why it worked. And then they had an idea of what they wanted to do. And then, their spinoff movies were filmed by committee kind of situations of Rogue One. They lost their director at some point and had to reshoot stuff. And then they replaced Chris Miller and Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I think those are their names.
Yeah, Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
For Solo. And they brought in Ron Howard. And everyone's like, that's a terrible movie. And I'm like, oh, my God, just shut up. But I think that now they're gone. I really think that they committed to making those movies and they had no idea what they wanted to do, but they knew they had to tie it in with all these other characters. Yep. And now creating brand new stories set in Star Wars universe is something that they will do a much better job at.
Yes. Speaking of Disney and potentially Star Wars, Deadline has reported, we're going to get back to this Deadline article very shortly after this bit of news, but they are reporting. So we know upcoming, Walt Disney Investor Day is coming December 10th. Mark your calendars. We're going to be getting news out of it. And Deadline is reporting that the meeting will announce upcoming television content and projects, including Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm. So this happened last year. It's no surprise. Here are my quick thoughts just on this little bit of the article and this bit of the news. Yeah, Brian, in the chat, he says 4 hours. Yeah, I read that too, that it's supposed to be 4 hours long, the investor meeting. So get ready, buckle up.
He also said Rogue One is the best film, and I completely agree.
I agree as well. When it comes to the sequel trilogy, right?
I want a Vader movie.
Disney. Anyway, I definitely do. I love Vader. He's my favorite character. But I'm talking too fast. The investor meeting's happening on the 10th, right? This coming Thursday, very soon. I'm sure it'll be our breaking news topic.
2.5 days. We might have to do a special show.
We very well might, because who knows? My expectations are wavering so here's the thing, right? New projects when it comes to Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios. I am much more fascinated if we get more Lucasfilm announcements than Marvel announcements, because we already have an astronomical amount of Marvel content that we know is coming. We don't need to hear about more Marvel content. We just need to actually get the content. Yeah. We're getting Star Wars. It's the complete reverse with both these IPs. We are getting Star Wars right now. We're about to be getting Marvel with WandaVision, but we are getting Star Wars right now with Mandalorian, but are completely unclear outside of Bad Batch, High Republic as to what's on the horizon when it comes Kenobi. What's coming out? We don't know what the Taika Waititi movie is. We don't know what movies in general they're planning. And then this is Star Wars. This is one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. I don't want to hear any more Marvel stuff coming out. I don't want to hear about any more Disney Plus series. Like, forget about it. If it's like a new thing, maybe once they get out something, I'll be excited. But you know what I mean?
What they'll do is they'll confirm rumors. That Nick Fury series. They'll confirm those things. Potentially, but I don't give a frack about those. Like, I really don't. Brian in the comments is saying release date for What If. Now that's what I want. I need that. Marvel, I really need the What If. I need that What If real bad. I don't know why, but like that's the one I'm going to go to. But I think they'll confirm some rumors, like officially announce what's going on with Black Panther 2 maybe. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But with Lucasfilm, there are so many rumors going around. I think we'll get confirmation of Cassian Andor actually starting filming.
Yep.
They might announce an Ahsoka series.
I think they definitely might. Or a Boba Fett series, because that was a big rumor a few weeks ago.
That's the other one, the prequel, Mandalorian prequel series.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. There's a lot more rumors happening right now when it comes to what Lucasfilm's up to, where I think the news coming out of this meeting when it comes to Star Wars will be much more fascinating than Marvel. Unless we're getting strong, set Disney Plus dates. Because you can count on Disney Plus dates and streaming dates nowadays. You can't count on actual theatrical release dates because you never know. But if we get a What If release date, if we get a Loki release date, if we get what else is supposed to even come out this year?
You're blowing my mind, Loki.
We definitely could, right? So it's gonna be exciting. Also,
you know what? Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's a date.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I knew I was missing one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm expecting. That's the one I need.
I really hope we get a Falcon Winter Soldier date. That would be awesome. So anyway, there's all that. It's also being reported, and this kind of ties into our next story, but that we were talking about how we talked about this, I think, last week or the week before, how it was rumored and it'll be confirmed on Thursday that movies like Cruella starring Emma Stone and Pinocchio with Tom Hanks will be announced that they're not going to theaters and they're going into Disney Plus for no extra charge. So there's that. Well, that's the big story that I want to talk about more. We'll reference back to this when we get to our next topic about what else they could announce that could be earth-shattering. But let's talk really quickly before we wrap up on this one that you just mentioned that the what's the name of
Cassian Andor?
Cassian Andor. I was thinking what Diego Luna's character's name was. That his prequel series. That's supposed to happen before Rogue One has has it started filming yet or no? Oh, it is. It has started filming. Yeah, in London. So yeah, the filming has begun for that series. And then also on top of that, so these are both Star Wars hits here when it comes to filming, getting new content, is that Ian McGregor, star of the upcoming Kenobi series, which I cannot wait for, is apparently going to start production on January 4th, 2021 in Boston, as well as London, England. So look out for that. Kenobi's coming. Will we get that by the end of 2021? I really hope so.
Give it to me, Disney. Give me my Star Wars drugs.
Kenobi is what I'm most looking forward to when it comes to Star Wars right now. Outside of Mando.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I get you to do a Kenobi yell for me?
Me?
I need it. I need
a Darth Maul Kenobi?
You just do your own version of it,
A Kenobi yell.
Kenobi yell. He's like, Kenobi.
Kenobi!
Well-timed horn.
Yeah, it was a well-timed horn.
Just give the people one. Get ready.
Kenobi!
Superman vibes.
Yeah, they linger from time to time.
Right. So the real question that everyone has, David, not that stupid question I had, are theaters dead? And if so, why?
Yeah. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is our big news topic of this week, unfortunately. So here's the report, right? Hollywood Reporter announced, they said officially, here we go, that Warner Brothers in 2021 is opting for all 17 of their films to come out simultaneously on HBO Max and in theaters. So this is the world we live in now, ladies and gentlemen. They are not going to push back anything, apparently. They're not going to move around. They're just going to put all of their movies for the next year on HBO Max day one, as well as theater. So if you can make it to a theater, if by, the second half of next year, theaters will be more lively, maybe. So here's the thing. I mean, there's a lot to break down here. One of the first things, just detail-wise, is that the movies will only stay on HBO Max initially for 31 days and then be taken off. And then they will let the theatrical run. Then they'll kind of get back to a traditional calendar where the theatrical run will run its date or run its course, and then we'll get the VOD release, and then they will probably all eventually end up back on HBO Max well later. But if you subscribe to HBO Max, do so, because if you haven't already, you should. If you are into any of this content, because HBO Max already has a ton of stuff on it. Like I like the streaming service so far. I think it's actually really good. Obviously, it's all of HBO, and then they have a really good catalog of documentaries and movies and stuff. So anyway, check it out. And then now you don't even have to go out to the theater to see movies. And here's there's a full list. I mean, there's 17 films, but some big hitters of the group is the Mortal Kombat movie I forgot about. That's coming out. The Tom and Jerry movie, the new Space Jam with LeBron James, which I can't wait for. Godzilla versus King Kong, which is that's a thing. Like, I want to see that in theaters. It's Godzilla versus King Kong. Like, that's a movie that should be in theaters, in my opinion.
If King Kong wins, I'm fracking rioting.
All right.
The Matrix. About the 1998 movie, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, still mad because King Kong won, and he shouldn't have won.
I'd root for King Kong. I'll be rooting for King Kong.
Oh, we're gonna fight.
And then Dune, that was initially supposed to come out on Christmas, which I forget its release date now. The Matrix 4, and the Suicide Squad, James Gunn, the Suicide Squad. So we've got some pretty big. That's the problem here, is we've got some big movies that aren't just going to the theaters. What'd you say?
Said it's basically all the big movies, right? For WB.
Well, it's all the movies from WB. I didn't even name all of them. It's every single one. And so before I get your, before we kind of dive in a little bit more, Thomas, I just want to point out something before I kind of hear your thoughts, is that, so back to this Deadline article that came out yesterday. Now we had the Hollywood Reporter article saying all this. Warner Brothers is going to HBO Max. Oh my gosh, movie theater chains aren't going to be able to survive this, because they're not going to get all the business, because people are just going to sit on the couch and watch the movie day one. Because if people don't care, like me and Thomas, to go out to a theater to see a new movie, they're just going to sit there on their couch and watch it. Anyway, so here's the thing. So studios work together, right? Like, Legendary Entertainment is now. I'm going to read this at least a little bit verbatim. Let's see who wrote this for Deadline.
This is the dirt.
Peter Bart and Mike Fleming Jr. From Deadline. Here we go. Quote. Well, what he wrote here. I'm hearing that Legendary Entertainment either has or will send legal letters to Warner Bros. As soon as today, challenging the decision to put the Denis Villeneuve directed Dune movie into the HBO Max deal, and maybe Godzilla vs. Kong as well. So Legendary Entertainment, a producer on both of those movies, Dune and Godzilla. Obviously, Warner Brothers owns the rights, though. That's the problem here. On the latter, Legendary reportedly had Netflix ready to pull the film for Warner Brothers for around $250 million before Warner Media blocked it. Let's repeat that. Godzilla vs. King Kong reportedly had Netflix ready to pull the film from Warner Brothers for around $250 million before Warner Media blocked it. So we're getting some negotiations here. Warner Brothers was like, no, you're not doing that. We're putting everything on HBO Max. Sources said Legendary had no advance notice before last week's announcement that both Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong were part of the HBO Max plan. Let me continue on for the next paragraph. It gets good. I hope everyone's enjoying this. Legendary certainly seems to have the right to challenge Warner Media on its decision. Legendary and its partners provided 75% of the $165 million budget, net budget. Of Dune. So 75% of the budget Legendary paid for of Dune. The adaptation. Okay. It put up a similar amount of the funding on Godzilla versus Kong. Will the long-term viability of the franchises be tarnished by starting out as an HBO Max offering, he questions. It's the same question the industry is asking about Wonder Woman. Legendary wouldn't comment. I'm still reading off here. I'm told there are 3 other films that have a right to believe movies that have a right to believe movies they majority finance. Oh, okay. Right to believe movies they majority finance are being served up to provide a steroid shot to HBO Max's paid subscriber base by ongoing deals that were made for theatrical release and traditional revenue waterfall. Thomas, I'm done talking. So this isn't just a kumbaya moment for Warner Brothers, right? They're meeting some backlash, and some serious backlash, right? Legendary put up apparently 75% of the budget for these films, Dune and Godzilla. Big films, right? Huge films coming out. And now they're just going to throw them on HBO Max, and they have issue with it. So, Thomas, you heard all of this. Comments, let us know your thoughts. What do you all think?
So...
Lot to break down here.
Literally, this is where I'm just going to jump right to the Legendary Warner Media stuff, because this is good. This is good dirt. Yeah. This is the stuff that, although it's unfortunate it's happening, I'm super happy it's happening publicly, because this is normally something that would go on behind the scenes. Legendary is sending legal letters to Warner Brothers or to Warner Media over this issue, because and I didn't know about that statistic of, what was it, 75%? Yeah, 75% of the net budget of Dune. That's from Legendary. They're losing all of that money right off the bat. There's nothing they can do to earn that money back, which is, although Warner Media is like, well, we're taking that loss in the end, that does not help the smaller subsidiaries be able to make other movies.
Yeah.
And apparently they had 30 minutes of notice before it went public. 30 minutes!
So
that is so fucked up. Censors at the ready. That is bad business. That's bad integrity. That's not being honorable in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that company, that although you're writing it off, is losing 75% of a budget when they were about to, losing 75% of $165 million when they were about to get $250 million. No, that is racked and jacked up.
So Thomas, you won't believe this, but I just got sent a message that there is even more drama happening as we speak. New York Times
breaking news.
Has an article. Breaking news, kind of. But yeah, breaking news. So here's a tweet from the Discussing Film Twitter account. Pretty good Twitter account. Pretty good Twitter follow, I would say. He bullet pointing this New York Times article that says, here we go. I'll send it to you on your phone. You can reps for Margot Robbie, Keanu Reeves, Angelina Jolie, and more are annoyed they are not being treated the same as Gal Gadot. Number 2, the Directors Guild Award have discussed a Warner Brothers boycott. That's a big one. And some are calling the studio Former Bros instead of Warner Bros. So this deal is being met with a ton of backlash, and it's abundantly clear that AT&T and Warner Media are just doing this without any discussion or consent from anyone else that they work with or they pay. Apparently Will Smith and Denzel Washington are upset they're not being treated as well as Gal Gadot. So there you go.
Okay. Yes. You should treat all of your stars who are also, Margot Robbie, producer for a lot of her films these days. Keanu Reeves. He's Keanu freaking Reeves, man.
Yep.
Angelina Jolie. Well, it's Angelina Jolie. What do you expect? Out of all of that, first off, Former Bros, 100% using that from now on. Cannot not use that. It's beautiful. The Directors Guild Association discussing a boycott of Warner Brothers effectively destroys Warner Brothers' ability to have the highest of directors. Like, to put it simply, most directors that are on these big budgets have to be union. For actors, it's SAG. Writers have their Writers Guild Association. Producers have the Producers Guild Association. That's why when you watch movies and you see, like, I don't know, Kevin Feige and it says P.G.A after, that means they are a member of that union. If the Directors Union is going to boycott that, then that means to work for Warner Brothers, you cannot be a member of the Directors Guild Association. Now, some directors will be like, yeah, I'll take this shot. Not always going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Because then they have to get non-union directors. And, usually all these directors that they get in for these projects are proven track records who have worked diligently within the union constraints, which is very important because they put on, unions have constraints. So you as a worker have to abide by certain restraints to work in this industry.
Yep.
That is legendary. Writing legal letters ain't shit compared to an entire boycott from all directors. Here's why it's super duper important, David.
Yes.
Residuals come off box office. With no box office, legally speaking, Warner Media can take those residuals, can earn all that money from subscribers, cut out residuals, no having to pay them, and then directors become they're being underpaid, and that is why they're discussing this boycott.
And that's a good note, because part of it is why those actors are upset they're not being treated as well as Gal Gadot is that apparently Gal Gadot got paid up front $10 million before the release of it on HBO Max and in theaters. So, and other actors aren't being treated as nicely, I guess. So let's continue on. This is crazy. I mean, I thought we were going to talk about, I'll say one thing before we move on at all. This gives me more hope for theaters in a way. Yes. Because everyone's attacking Warner Brothers now after this decision. This shows that there is major, pushback on what's happening here. Mm-hmm. And I think that this shows that Disney will not do anything similar. They will have a few minor films that are going to go straight to Disney Plus, maybe Black Widow.
I think Black Widow would be that premier access, right? Mulan was the test. Right. And it made decent money. Yeah. And it was only a domestic thing, if I'm remembering right, that it was premier access in America. And
that's part of the HBO Max thing, is that you only get HBO Max in the United States. Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
That is actually a good point. I don't remember if that's true or not, but I do know that they were talking about the all these movies will be in, it's day and date because a lot of other places are open already.
Right.
Why?
So here's the thing, just about this, wrapping it up a bit here. Just on the actual news, despite the drama now that's coming out, which is exciting for us to talk about because it spiced up the news. But let's just think here. I mean, we're getting this as a movie fan that wouldn't be one of us, that doesn't sit down and talk about it for 2 hours live to the internet. It doesn't think about these things all the time. I would be, I'd be like, all right, cool. I can go see it in theaters, or I can go sit on HBO Max and watch it. Like, if I was a casual movie fan, maybe wanted to see Dune, maybe wanted to see the Suicide Squad, like as a just entertainment consumer, it's pretty nice, Like, if you don't think about what's going to do to the theaters, just blindly, just thinking, just take the news for what it is and don't think about it deep at all. Like, don't move at all with it. Hey, cool. I could go see it in theaters, or I could just sit on my butt and watch it. That's exciting. Like, I get all the options. It'll be on HBO Max for a month. I can rewatch it whenever I want. Cool. AMC and Regal are about to lose all their theaters. Especially if other places come along, and it's clear that Warner Brothers doesn't care about the theaters too, because there's no little wrinkle that one of them, I don't know, like you get money from, like there's some sort of like deal, like Universal and AMC have this like deal going, which isn't a great deal for AMC, but and
no, that is a good deal because they get some of the finances from, if I'm not mistaken, AMC is getting paid some of the residuals from the VOD sales. So it is a good deal for AMC. It's not as good of a deal for Universal as it could have been, but it's not going to bankrupt the theaters because they're getting, I think, like it's a small percentage, but it's enough to keep their doors open.
Yeah, but like it's taking them out of theaters quicker. So it's not it's not a great deal. It's a deal that I think is stopping the bleeding a bit, and it isn't a bad idea, but it's not like this awesome deal for the theaters that's going to make them strive, Yeah, and it's funny. I was reading that, I don't pay attention to stocks or anything, but I read that AMC stock dropped the day this was announced.
Yes. The day they announced the vaccine, the stocks went up for all theaters. And then as soon as this was announced, they plummeted to like a new low. I might be
time to buy, I guess.
Hey, you trying to own some theaters, bro?
I mean, that's the sad part, right? Like in this in this world of COVID and everything, of no theaters, of what we're living through right now, where we have no theaters to go to, really, like to actually see a film, to get it, to pack in, to go Thursday night. It's not a reality. I'm afraid that after this year and after 2021, the problem is with theaters business wise that this problem solves, that we've heard Disney talk about direct to consumer. Theaters cost a lot to have that big building. Real estate is expensive, and these theater companies, they're just burning money for months. It's going to be damn near years if this HBO Max thing really takes a huge hit on them, and if we don't get a vaccine and like we can't pack the theaters. So I just don't know how they survive unless like a company jumps in. But why would any of these companies jump in? Because the bad business move. Movie theaters aren't this sustainable thing that's like great for how our world's moving. There's so many of them. My prediction is that theaters will still exist. There's just going to be less of them. Like, how can AMC not sell some of that real estate or get rid of some of it? You know what I mean? I just don't see how it's viable and even feasible for them to keep up how many theaters these big chains have. I think theaters will still exist for me and you that want to go out and see them. They're just not going to be as, I don't think we'll ever see a year like 2019 again with this news, which is sad because 2019 was a record-breaking year for the theaters, and I can't imagine the box office. We'll see what Disney does, and we'll see what Warner Brothers does after 2021 because they only said for the 1 year. But with this shift happening, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine Endgame ever being touched, right? Because people are going to start just
for real.
People are going to now desire to sit at home and watch movies on day one. This is going to be it's going to become a routine for people after this year, which is sad. And there you go. Those are my thoughts.
Okay, so 2019, the end game of theaters. Now, you were saying something, and I had ladies and gentlemen, it's time. I need to actually make a tinfoil hat. Get your tinfoil hats ready. Conspiracy theory time is in. You know what? I'm sorry, that was wrong. Conspiracy theory time is in. You said who would jump in and buy these theaters?
Yes.
What if this is ultimately a play by AT&T and Warner's Media because this year, studios are now allowed to buy theaters. This year, they're allowed to own them.
Netflix has theaters, right, or something?
Exactly. Netflix and Amazon. Amazon has a couple, but it's just so they can get those awards in.
Right, which is a coy move.
Coy and intelligent. I don't know what coy means. I'm not going to lie.
This is basically what intelligent.
I'm great with math. I'm bad with I'm bad with words.
Clever move.
Okay, so I basically synonymized it. I don't think that's a word. Anyways, what if this is just what if this is ultimately a play by AT&T and Warner's Media, which, by the way, AT&T is a massive conglomerate. Correct. I mean, I remember when I had Bell South. Who owns them? AT&T. Who owns AOL? AT&T. Like,
Yeah.
it used to be AOL Warner Media or whatever it is, and now it's AT&T Warner Media.
Yep.
Like, think about that. That is a massive conglomerate that just wants to own whatever they can. My tinfoil hat is just ready at this point. This is a power play.
Yeah.
This is whipping your financial unit out, putting it on the table, and saying, "Guess what? You've lost," and just waiting for the dominoes to finish falling. It's a house of cards, and Warner Media and AT&T is trying to be the fan on top of the ceiling.
I will say one thing. The business plan of a streaming service, just point blank, is really good if you own the content. I was listening. I don't know if Brian's still here. I know he listens to John Campea. He's a movie pundit YouTuber, been around for years. I've watched him for years. It inspired me to do this show. Anyway, he was breaking it down the other day, and I was watching the whole video. And he was explaining, and it was a really good explanation. You guys go check it out. Just YouTube, John Campea and the HWWS deal. He was explaining how brilliant it is when it comes to Disney and for potentially HBO Max, because Netflix has so many subscribers and makes so much money, but they're shelling out so much money in licensing fees, like billions and billions of dollars that keeps them in the negative. But when you're Disney or you're Warner Brothers that actually owns these pieces of content, you don't pay any licensing fees. So you just get a net profit off of all of those subscribers and all the money you get from that if you're releasing it on the streaming service. And you have to pay, obviously, the theaters and the people to push it out when it's a theatrical release. So he had a really good breakdown as to how it financially makes sense that helped me understand why it actually could make some sense for people to put the movies on streaming instead of the theater, even though you look at the Endgame box office and it's like, how could you compete with that? And I'm not saying it's that, but there's a lot more there's a lot more money leaving your pocket when you're putting it out into a theater, or when you're on Netflix and you're using someone else's content. You have to pay to have it on your site or whatever. So Disney Plus, it made more sense logically for me how this makes sense when it comes to financials. When to me it didn't make sense for a while. That helped me. It still doesn't completely add up when it comes to you. I think they still want them in. You want those box office numbers, right? Like you want it in the box office. Doesn't the most people go and see it? So anyway, this has been a fun topic filled with just rumors and hate. Breaking news. Gal Gadot treated like Wonder Woman. Who would have thunk it? And I will say,
$10 million.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay Keanu Reeves or Will Smith or Margot Robbie. Yeah, Denzel. You ain't paying Denzel. You don't want to piss off the Equalizer, bro. Like, no. You got anything else for the Thunder news? Which we forgot to reference that joke, but whatever. It's okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're into the fast part of the news, allegedly, which I like to call, we're going to do 3 minutes for all these stories. What we just did is Thunder news. Thunder news rolls on, baby. We talk, we let it develop, and we let, the atmosphere become and look at how great it worked out. We got quote unquote breaking news in the middle of that, which led to an entire 15-minute spiel of conspiracy theories, excuse me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the lightning news, where I say stuff really super duper fast, and maybe David has comments.
Yeah.
First up, right off the bat, we have the High Republic. That's not the right graphic. We have the High Republic has announced their second adult novel. It'll be The Rising Storm, written by Cavan Scott. Cavan Scott has written, honestly, a metric F ton of books. Dooku Jedi Lost is one of them. I'm pretty sure he's I'm not going to say all the other ones that I think it is. I can't remember. It will focus on, it'll see the Nile taking their reign of terror to the next level, building on their appearances in the light of Jedi and beyond. Standing in their way this time are newly elevated Jedi Council member Stellan Gios, along with Padawan Bell Zettifar, and an intriguing new character, the Saber for Hire Ty Yorick, who I've had a blast creating, says Kevin Scott. David, thoughts?
I'm excited. It makes me want to read these books. We'll see if I ever get to it. A side note, speaking of Dune, I saw the Dune Part 1 graphic novel at Target today when I was working, and I'm like, ooh, I want to read that before the movie comes out. I kind of want to read Dune before the movie comes out. Moving on.
That book will come out July 6th, 2021, a full 6 months, 1 year day after the first book.
Oh.
Up next, we have Zendaya was playing it cool about 3 Spider-Man appearing in Spider-Man. She basically said it's all super secret. There's really nothing to say other than that. Thoughts?
I mean, you and Derek were all high on this 3 Spider-Man actually joining us. Go check out that episode when Derek Diamond joined us. That was great.
Yes.
I mean,
I was all the way high.
I know. I know. And I wasn't, because I can't get my expectations that high, because it still seems crazy to me. But, not a good sign, not a bad sign, but definitely not a bad sign. She's just like, I can't say anything. Obviously, she was speaking to Jimmy Kimmel, and Kimmel likes to ask those questions like that. She probably knew it was coming. But, looking forward to it. This movie is definitely gonna have surprises in it, no matter how big and how grand. We know surprises are coming. There's been so many rumors about what they're doing with Spider-Man, so let's go.
Up next, DC's Plastic Man movie has received a breath of new life as Warner Brothers is going to recreate it with a female lead, focusing on, I guess it'll be Plastic Lady? Plastic Woman? Plastic Madam Plastic. That's it, Madam Plastic. First reported by The Hollywood Reporter. That's about all I've seen that's popped up so far. Yeah. Anyways, thoughts? I'm probably not. You don't like DC.
Former bros are dead to me.
Well, this is awkward because Ava DuVernay has a new series on the CW, a new DC series. She will be creating the show Naomi, a young black superhero created by Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker. Her powers are... Oh, no, I'm not finding it. Where is that? It'll be a very different look and feel almost... it'll have a very different look and feel because it'll be a young black female with superpowers. And... their first instance was to take her story into a place that you don't normally see in the DC universe or exists. If I'm not mistaken, what I remember reading somewhere, and I'm not finding the exact quote, is this will be a multiverse, like a deep multiverse type of show. So much excited. David, thoughts?
Much excited for you. I probably won't be watching, but sounds cool.
And is this set in the future? It might be. Hold on. Set in the future. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not finding it. That ends the lightning round of the news. Notice how we got stuck on Spider-Man for a while? Classic David. Love it. It's okay. If it had been Thor, I would have lost my shit. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Again, our intro tonight was created by Josh Bauer of JBauerArt. And you know what, guys, just hire the guy. Also, sponsors, reach out to us. We'll make amazing stuff and content for you, just like, I don't know, this.
JBauerArt has the graphic design skills you need to develop your next logo and at an affordable price. But he's not just a one-trick pony. Follow JBauerArt on social media to interact during live paintings and see all of his previous artwork, which you can buy exclusively at jbauerartshop.com. Not only is he an artist, this beautiful son of a blue brings you the Back Talk with Bauer podcast every week with unique guests, and every month he hosts a special Back Talk with Friends episode that can only be described as chaotic and hilarious. Need a video intro or commercial? JBauerArt has you covered. For all of this and more, follow JBauerArt on social media. That's JBauerArt. Check out JBauerArt.com for a full portfolio and JBauerArtShop.com to buy that special painting for you and your loved ones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some really important breaking news. As you know, we are fracking huge sports fans, and I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I could not be more happy about this news. And it should. I was conflicted, and then I was like, yeah, I don't like undefeated teams. The Washington football team is about to beat the stupid Steelers. Screw you, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I just don't like undefeated teams. My second favorite team is the Dolphins. So like I like having that little. I mean, they had that weird undefeated season when they played at like 7 out of 12 teams that were under 500, which we're not going to get into the statistics of it all, but that's how they went undefeated. Huzzah. Good job. Really? Here's why I'm excited. Alex Smith. Dude, literally almost died.
Apparently. Yeah.
What?
He threw like a really good pass earlier to put him up.
Yo, he was like covered. His whole leg was bleeding and like drenched in blood. I saw a picture on the Twitter from Field Yates, I think. Yeah, no, like his whole leg was just covered in blood. And I was like, savage. And I think it was the same leg he had surgery on. Really? So huzzah to Alex Smith. That dude has been in the league for so long, and I don't think he's ever been given the credit he's truly deserved. I think 16 years.
2005 when he was drafted.
Okay, so 15. Yeah,
Rodgers. Yeah.
I remember him and Rodgers. I couldn't remember what season they were on. Huzzah! Finally, undefeated team goes down. That's all I care about.
Maybe Big Ben backing up, launching deep.
Are we about to get a play-by-play?
No,
David Thompson.
No, we're not. Let's get to Star Wars.
Dude, if we were watching, if I had it on, we would go back and forth. You could do the play-by-play. I'd do the color commentary. Yeah. Like, we should do the Super Bowl.
We live stream the Super Bowl.
Live stream the Super Bowl. Lights, thunder, action. Ladies and gentlemen in the comments, if you want to see lights, thunder, action do the Super Bowl, like, let us know. Or at least the college football one, because in the Super Bowl, I yell no matter who's playing. The Super Bowl is my birthday. My birthday doesn't exist. Super Bowl is my Christmas. I don't like Christmas, but I love the Super Bowl. Anyways, back on top.
When you get out of bounds, the game's going to be over.
Yes!
Yeah. Ebron caught it. Inbounds. Game's over.
Nerd. Remember that time when they forgot how to go out of bounds? I do, says a Dallas Cowboys.
All right, I'm turning off my TV. Mandalorian.
Mando. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not seen Star Wars The Mandalorian Chapter 14, spoiler alert, we gonna ruin it for you. Let me break down the plot. I'm not even watching. I'm not even looking at anything. I'm gonna rattle this off the top of my head. We go to quick pause. I'm so sorry for speeding past this. We have to talk about this right off the bat because I know once we get to the explosion of it all. How about Mando like repeatedly going Grogu and Grogu just going, yeah? Like, was that not adorable?
I know. I love how he has a name.
I love how he has a name, and I love how he's just like Grogu. And it's like, and he just keeps laughing, and I'm like, you're not going to be able to give this child up. Don't even lie to yourself, Mando. Listen, Daddy Din Djarin, you're not going to be able to give up little Grogu Djarin. There's no way.
Did you notice that what I put in the show notes? That's a link.
No. I did not.
Yep.
I have an ad, so that's awkward.
That is awkward.
I see what it is. True. So then he's like, we're at Tython. And instantly I'm like, what? We are at Tython? Like, who thought? Yeah. The plot, ladies and gentlemen, is now in hyperspace. There's no slowing down the train of Mando. Like that one guy, the visual effects artist said, we're in a roller coaster. He ain't lying. My emotions are wrecked after the tragedy. We go to Tython. We go to the place. He says, oh, look, does this look Jedi to you? LOL. He puts Grogu on the stone. He sees a blue butterfly. We'll come back to the blue butterfly later. He says, okay. He turns around. Grogu starts meditating, and he's like, oh, snap, there's a ship. It's Slave One. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Slave One. Jumping forward, Boba Fett shows up. I want the armor, not my armor. No, not your armor. I want my armor. Then all hell breaks loose. The Empire shows up. Guns are blasting. Ming-Na Wen, a.k.a. Agent May, a.k.a. Mulan, a.k.a. Fennec Shan is out there blasting stormtroopers because stormtroopers suck balls. We get a great little line of, move forward, flank them. But, sir, there's too much fire. Go flank them, you idiot.
I love
it. And it's instantly shot in the face. Loved it.
I love the stormtrooper banter. I love that.
That's how I always envisioned it. Flank them, you idiot. And he's just like, move along, move along. Anyways, Boba Fett, this is the Boba Fett episode. They shouldn't call this the tragedy. They should call this Boba Fett kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah, dude, I loved these scenes. His action was awesome.
Okay, we'll get to this in a moment, but he destroyed so much armor, and that is just...
Yeah, him and that staff just...
Oh, dude, the Gaddafi from the Tuscans? Yeah, bro, wrecked them all up. He finally sees the Razor Crest. He goes in. He gets his armor. Mando's being a Mando shield with his best car. Ming-Na Wen is out there kicking some ass, shooting some bitches. We get a weird Indiana Jones reference. And then before I get to the explosion of it all,
I was just going to say quickly before I forget, I thought I was going to dislike whenever Ming-Na Wen came back because I thought, I'm like, she's died. Like, why is she coming back? Is it just because it's, this famous actress? I liked her coming back. I liked the way they told it. I thought it was awesome. It was with Boba Fett. I liked the whole how they brought up, like, it's almost like the Chewbacca thing with Han, where it's like a life debt. How she has this like life debt to Boba Fett now, and then they have to steal, and like by the end of the episode, we're gonna get there. It just was awesome. I was all in. I loved her return. I loved the way they told the story with her return and Boba Fett. So continue explosions.
Boba Fett lands in his armor. His waist. First off, he has knee cannons. What? That might be my favorite. That might be my favorite part of his whole thing. Is he just like steps on a rock and then shoots missiles, and what happens? They hit the first two stormtroopers, and they're just like, he has knee cannons, and they tuck tail and run.
Yeah.
Then we get banter back and forth. What was it that happened? Oh, yes, I remember. The stormtroopers get on the ships and leave, and then they blow up the fucking Razor Crest, and that
was the tragedy of it all, right?
That's how I feel, too. They blew up a home. Mando ain't got no home now. He ain't got no ship to live in. His home he's from a broken home.
Yeah.
Then Boba Fett goes to Slave One. Then the Dark Troopers are launched, which awesome.
Dude, awesome.
They steal Grogu. We didn't mention this, which is important. Mando takes off his jetpack early in the episode, and it's just like, that's a weird thing to be done. And then you like at the end, you're like, where's your fucking jetpack?
Yeah.
They take Baby Groot. I'm sorry. I went to say Baby Yoda and then Grogu, and I got Baby Groot. I'm sorry, everyone. They take Grogu, and then it's just bad timing between Grogu and Mando this whole episode. We cut to Boba Fett talking about his heritage, which we'll get to full on.
That was awesome.
We jump to space, and we we go to Navarro, Cara Dune. We're gonna find Miggs Mayfeld. He's gonna help Mando. Or he's going to break him out so that he can help. Mando's going to break Mayfeld out so Mayfeld can help Mando get aboard Moff Gideon's ship / track it. And then we go to the ship.
I'm telling you, dude.
The Imperial cruiser.
Yes.
And first, I got to say it now, we get more Darksaber.
And a really cool Darksaber scene with really cool dialogue from Moff Gideon. That was sinister as heck. Nice.
We get more Darksaber, and it's beautiful, and it looks so much better than it did in the last time we seen it. Like, it's inside. Yes. Oh my god, I love it. Grogu is tossing some stormtroopers around, choking them, let the hate flow through you. And then
cool.
He gets super tired, and then he's like, "You'll poke your eye out." Awesome Christmas reference. It's timely. And then the episode ends with basically, we're going to find Dr. Pershing. That's the episode. Let's dive deeper. That's like literally that was the longest 33 minutes I've ever had watching Star Wars.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it's only because every like 60 seconds something new happens.
Yeah, and the whole time, because right after that first, like scene or whatever, it's like boom, chapter 14, the tragedy. Oh shit! Like, great. Now we know that this is gonna go bad, and you just know how bad. I did not expect the Razor Crest, the Razor Crest to blow up. Yeah. I did expect Grogu to get
captured.
Yeah, that I thought was super, super telegraphed. Like, you knew that was coming. And you could feel it the whole way with the force field.
Yeah.
Emphasis on force field.
Which
you notice the article I wrote? In the article I wrote, I capitalized the F in force field every time I wrote it.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
So anyway.
I didn't notice that, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Because literally that's what it was. I really liked the part where we actually get Grogu like seemingly reaching out to a
everyone?
Jedi. Yeah, like anyone, everyone, someone. And how it was this force field that Mando couldn't penetrate. That it was a great story beat to it too, where it's like, oh my gosh, he can't just go grab him because he has to, like he can't just get in there. And you felt you could feel the struggle of Din Djarin, like just wanting, like, literally, like felt like saving his son. This show has only gotten better. Like, I think this might be my favorite episode of maybe the whole show, probably the season. Like, it's really, really good storytelling. The 32 minutes, I think, kept it really tight. Like, last episode with Ahsoka was an amazing episode because it had Ahsoka in it, live action. There was a lot of exposition though, and it wasn't as story driven. So that's what makes it probably not my most favorite, but that's only because they had to tell that story, right? They had to give us the exposition.
Exactly. They needed that to get to this. And this is where it was all building to anyway. It was Moff Gideon chasing Grogu.
Yeah, and having the tracker on Raisin Crest.
On the raisin. Listen, it's a raisin now. It is all dusty and pruning.
Yeah, it's really sad. And the part when Mando picks up the little ball from that was,
I know, right? Like,
that was really depressing. That was really sad. But by the end of this episode, like I said in the show notes, like, freaking what did I say? Starvengers assemble. Like, it's that assemble moment, right? Where it's like, all right, let's go get Mayfield, let's get some people, let's go get Cara Dune. Like, we're gonna assemble a team here and go get Baby Yoda from Moff Gideon. And it's like such an awesome setup heading into the final 2 episodes. This season, this is my breakdown of Mandalorian as a whole so far.
I'm ready.
Mando season 1 walked so Mando season 2 could run. That's my bottom line. Because
wrong. Yes. Mando season 1 walked so Mando season 2 could fly.
Okay. Literally. Think about it. Think about how much we're getting this season, world building wise, fan, what's the word I'm looking for? Fan service wise, and then just great story that has been nonstop, hard hitting. We're getting Mayfield back, which last season I had an issue with that episode.
Oh God,
like nothing happened.
That was my favorite episode. Like, I loved 7 and I loved 8, but that was my favorite. That is just such a damn good single story episode. And that was what episode, David? Episode 6. What episode is this? Episode 6. I'm sensing a very strong trend in the force of Mando.
Yeah. It's it's funny too, thinking about how oh my gosh, what's his name? Esposito, Giancarlo. I was trying to speak of the actor's name because he said in an interview with EW how expect more in the next season. Remember I read that article about that, and it's like, all right, like, so feels like we're gonna get a lot of him in the next 2 episodes, but even more next season. So I'm super excited for the end of this. I really hope they end up getting. Obviously, you want them to save Grogu soon, but you also, I think they need to really. They've set up themselves really well here. I really hope they end this season with a lot of solutions, like, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like resolutions, not resolutions, like the end of the story. Yeah. Resolutions. Yeah, a lot of resolutions, but also plenty of questions still, right? And plenty of conflict on the horizon. Like, it's just like the episode, just like season 1 in a sense, where that you knew more was coming, but you can still be happy with the result because at the end of the day, Mando and Grogu reunite or whatever. I just think that they're doing such a good job this season. This episode is proof of that. I can't wait for next week, and I really can't wait for the finale after last week because the finale is just going to be bonkers. I expect it to be a long episode, the final episode, because they got a lot to tell. Because they still have been light on Moff Gideon overall. There hasn't been like a Moff Gideon episode. I'm waiting for that.
I think that's the next episode.
You think? Okay.
I just thought of it right now, but like it fits for next week. Like, right? We learn about Moff Gideon because he's going to be an egotistical Empire guy and tell Grogu.
Yeah. I think true. And I liked that moment with him and Grogu and the Darksaber. I'm like, all right, cool. We're getting more of this character that we don't know about, that we know is sinister, but we don't know his motives really.
Yeah.
I don't want him just to be this, I was a follower of the Empire and bowed to Palpatine and I just have to keep that up. Like, I want to see what really drives him. And they've set him up where he seems like he has his own mission, his own thoughts and why he's doing this. Like, give me more. I just really am excited. And maybe we won't get it this season, but I really want to see a Moff Gideon episode where we just deep dive into what he's all about,
So let's backtrack a little bit to the beginning of the episode. When it comes to, I say beginning, it's basically the beginning. So when they get to the Jedi Temple, the ancient temple, the Seeing Stone on the mountain.
Yep.
What did you think about that? Because it looked very familiar to me.
What did I think about just the Seeing Stone? The
Seeing Stone, how it worked, how the Force worked when he started meditating, all of that.
I don't know. What did it remind you of? Because nothing stuck out to me.
The very instant they showed the Seeing Stone, I went, that looks like a ball.
Yeah.
And I saw the writing and I went, that looks like a ball from the Zepho temples of Jedi Fallen Order, which are ancient temples. And this is one of the original, in the canon, it's one of the first 5 planets that was up for grabs, or that was debated on whether it should be the first Jedi temple. And, Luke says Octo was the first one, but that might not be true. That's what I recognized. And then as soon as he started meditating and the Force, it was a force field, but it reminded me of wind. Mm-hmm. And if you've played Fallen Order, right?
Yeah.
So you've made it in that first temple where you got to move those balls around with force pushing.
Yes.
That's what it reminded me of.
That's funny. Yeah, it does. Especially like you said, like the ball, the sphere, and even
it makes me really wonder. Continue. Sorry.
I just mentioned in that article I wrote about the butterflies and stuff, like about this episode, when I mentioned Fallen Order because like that's a big part. Is like when he meditates, he like kind of restores his energy and stuff like that. And it reminded me of Fallen Order just in that sense of like the meditation part of it, where it's like, oh, he's meditating. Like and it's an interesting concept in Star Wars, right? Especially for Force users. It's like, all right, like what are they really doing? Like, what are you focusing on? Are you just like, anyway? So really cool. Like, it's cool seeing Grogu being used as this vessel of the Force being told in The Mandalorian, where it's like,
okay,
outside of Ahsoka, like there in the Ahsoka episode, obviously we're seeing a lot of Force use and a look into, the Jedi. But Grogu is this like young, 50 years old, but like, young and like not really aware of what's really happening just because he's been away from it for so long. And it's really fun seeing it in that sense where you're almost experiencing it with him instead of just it being like blatantly said to you or a like seemingly adult going through it. So anyway.
So I loved that. We'll get to this later, but like on who you think Grogu was communing with, and all of that fun stuff. The internet has lots of ideas. Let's get to really, this is what the episode's truly about. It's about the mother effing Fett man.
Yeah.
All right. Like look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett with a dad bod. Everyone's been like, oh, they made thick Thor and then Boba Fett with a dad bod. They're making us big guys feel good. And I'm like,
right.
understandable.
I mean, and they're kind of doing Boba Fett dirty because he's kind of like a slender build in the original trilogy.
Yeah, but he's an old man now.
But it's like how many years? It's only been what, 5 years? Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. After Return of the Jedi. Well, remember, after Return of the Jedi, he was almost killed. Like in Return of the Jedi, if you see all the scars on his face, last time we saw Boba Fett, he didn't have those scars on his face as a kid. We don't know what he looked like. Now, this is where that prequel series could come in. We might see all those scars could be from the Sarlacc pit because remember, it digests you. So
that did. When I first saw like all the scars and the tattering, that's kind of what I thought of. Was like, getting out of the Sarlacc pit, like that takes some struggle.
Yeah, and without his armor, and especially being injured, having had a lot of surgeries, you do put on weight after surgery.
Right.
And he's an older guy, so it's a lot harder for him to work it off. So, there's that. But obviously, he's not lost any goddamn strength. Holy shit.
Nope.
He absolutely wrecks with that Gaddafi. And my favorite part, I don't know if it's because he's super strong or that's how weak the Stormtrooper armor is. Because remember, the hammer that the armorer used in the season 1 finale did the same thing. It shattered, but it didn't shatter every one of their armor, like every single one of them. Boba Fett did with that Gaddafi. Now, again, the Gaddafi is basically a staff hammer. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's made of solid metal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I really enjoy the visual and the sound of those Stormtrooper like helmets getting like shattered, like you said. It's awesome.
I love it. Suck it, nerds. Let's see. Let's check the comments really quick. Didn't go. Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. We'll come back to that. I think. I don't know how to read. So, Fennec Shand is like cybernetic now. Like she was shot in the stomach, and now I'm going to be very egotistical here. I called that it was Boba Fett at the end of episode 5, chapter 5 of Mando last season when feet walk up to dead body Fennec Shand. I called it was Fett. I was right. Hype, excited. However, I was wrong about everything else. So, you know what? That's important. Ladies and germs, I don't think I'm right about Mando being force sensitive, because if there were any time that he would feel the presence of the force, it would have been then. Yeah. When his child is in dire straits, and he's literally on a force, a planet strong in the force. I guess I was wrong, and I feel disgusting saying that. But
we'll see. I don't think he is, but there's still a lot of story to tell here.
I don't think he is anymore either. So there's that, which ruins over a year of theorizing on how it could work out. Bums.
The tragedy.
That is the real tragedy of this episode. That son of a blue isn't a. Anyways, so what were your thoughts on overall on what they did with Boba Fett before they blew up the Razor Crest?
I loved it. I loved him wanting the armor and having to explain himself that that's his armor and it was his father's armor and all that stuff. And I just thought that they handled him so well. I think that they perfectly showed how badass he still is and gave us that feel that this is a guy that could have gotten out of the Sarlacc pit, right? That this is a warrior. Like he's tough. And I just think that this sets, I'm not sure I want a Boba Fett series out of this. I like him in Mando. I'd rather have an Ahsoka series personally. I don't know if I really want if I had to pick between those two, I'd rather an Ahsoka series because I think they could do a lot more with that. Where I think Boba Fett fits in really well in the Mandalorian show. I think I'd love to see him more. I'd love to see him leave and come back later. I think he's a really fun, side character to this show it's about Mandalorians. And he is our first Mandalorian in Star Wars that we all know and love. That's why this show was created, is really because of Boba Fett, because we all know like the look. And anyway, so I thought it was really well done. I really liked I forget his name, the guy who played Jango Fett.
Tamora Morrison.
Yeah, I thought Morrison's like his acting was really well. Like, his performance was very good, and I'm sure it was cool for him now that he's back as a Fett. He's now Boba Fett, but it must be cool. And I'm hoping for a potential meetup between him and Rex. That'd be really cool.
Why'd you do that? I hadn't even thought of that.
Sorry for that.
God, dude. Sorry to your ears, ladies and peoples, but like, holy shnikes. Could you imagine?
Be pretty cool.
Oh, I might cry. Like, that's good. That's real good. I had so many thoughts before you said that, and now I'm just like, dude, like bearded, gray beard Rex with, oh my God, like I can't even.
Oh, crew cut action.
No, he's bald. Watch Rebels, damn it.
Sorry.
Also, by the way, Rex is in Return of the Jedi. I'll let you find that out after you watch Rebels. Anyways, so when it comes to Boba Fett, my favorite thing is, it's like the very first thing he says is, I want the armor. You can't have my armor. I don't want your armor. I want my armor. The one you took off Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, he's just jumping right into it. I love this.
Yep.
And then he's like, I've got my friend here trained. He's like, oh, I see that muzzle flash. He's like, it's not trained on me. It's trained on your friend up there. He's like, oh. He's like, why don't we all pipe down, put down our weapons, and have a discussion? And then he's like, I will guarantee the safety of you and the child as long as I get the armor.
Awesome.
And then you're like, okay. And at the end, Din Djarin is like, okay, so you have your armor. He's like, deal's not done. I swore to protect you and the child. The child is not safe. Therefore, until the child is safe and free from the Empire, we are in your debt. And it's like, he is such an honorable human being.
Yep.
And I love that.
Deal maker.
Literally, now we get to fly on Slave 1 for the next at least one episode. And it's like, you remember that time when Obi-Wan couldn't catch it? I'm so excited. And we get to see the controls of Slave 1 again. And it's like, 10-year-old Thomas is so excited to see these controls again, man. I went back and when he says, did you swear the creed or whatever? Are you Mandalorian? He's like, I'm just a simple man making my way through the galaxy like my father before me.
Yep.
Did you remember that Jango Fett quote?
I didn't. They didn't ring a bell. Like it sounded
Jango
familiar, but it didn't seem.
Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones says, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in this universe.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yep. So, and that's when, I think that's when Boba Fett first meets a Jedi. Like,
right.
Right then and there. So he keeps that same line, and it's to Mando.
Yep.
Dude, if Mando were force sensitive, this would mean so much more right now, but whatever. And then, let's get to the tragedy.
Yep.
They blow up the Razor Crest.
Boom. Gone.
I'm so pissed. You know what's hilarious and sad? I listen to Job of the Pod every week, and they're about to end their show because Sci-Fi Wire has to make budget cuts, so they have to I think what'll happen is it'll be a periodic podcast like it was meant to be originally, but because of 2020, they were like, oh, let's just extend it because they just had so many things going on, and it was getting hella ratings. Matt Romano, on that show, he's like, I just finished my Razor Crest Lego set before I watched this episode.
Yeah.
And then they blew it up. And he's like, and I'm so upset. He's a ship lover. Like, he loves ships in Star Wars. That's his favorite thing. So listening how sad he was, I was like, dude, if I had done that, I'd have just thrown the fucking thing off a ledge and let it explode and be like, oh, look, it's the Razor Crest. What survives the Razor Crest?
The ball.
The ball. Is the bald Beskar? Someone asked in the chat.
Mm.
Damn good question. Let's put that back in his magnetic little hand. The Beskar staff survived.
Yes.
Now,
which is like, pick up that thing. Let's
need
go.
it. And here's the reason I had to
on the dark saber. 100%. 100%.
So they were talking about lightsaber fights this season, and I was like, well, obviously, like, what else is going to go up against it? And now the Beskar is going to go up against it. And it's like, we might not get another Jedi this entire season, like, at all. We might get
I don't think we do.
We might see them, but I don't think we get lightsaber on lightsaber action unless it's a flashback.
Which I want a flashback, man.
Favorite thing.
I know. It's literally my favorite thing in the show, or one of my favorite things where, like, or at least one of my favorites from season 1. Like, I ate up all the flashback scenes. And we haven't had like any this season. I don't remember one.
Cobb Vamp.
Yes. And that, yeah, exactly. And that was a good one. I enjoyed that. But that's I still want one. I think that's literally it. I don't think there's been one since that episode.
What was it? Tatooine, Frog Lady, Bo-Katan. Yeah, that was our only flashback we got.
Yeah, so I really hope we get more of those. I love seeing them. I'd love to see a Moff Gideon flashback. Ooh, that'd be really good. If we get a nice story on him. But so far this season, they've kind of just told us what happened in the past instead of showed us.
And I think they showed us the Cobb Vanth thing because people are going to assume he's lying, and they needed us to know that he's being genuine here.
Yeah.
So they're going to show us that.
Yeah.
It was very important for Mando earning his trust. So he's like, okay, like they showed us, because as soon as he says he's like bought it off some Jawas, and it's like, no, you fucking didn't, you liar. And then they show you, and you're like, oh, he did buy it off Jawas. Okay,
yeah, that was good, and that was a longer episode. It's funny thinking back to that episode now. It's like we're in such a mild place compared to where we are now.
I sat down with my nephews and we started rewatching Mandalorian from chapter 7. We got up to the Ahsoka episode, and I was like, "Do you guys want to watch?" I was like, "You guys want to watch it?" And then one was like, "No," and the other's like, "I mean, yeah, but he doesn't." So, and I was like, okay, fine. We won't watch the 2 best episodes. Whatever. This is why I don't have children, because they won't like what I like, and then I'll just be hanging out by myself like I do already. Anyways, yeah. So I watched that again, and it was like, wow, this episode stands out so much now. And we did.
It does.
We skipped the middle section of episode 2, chapter 9. No, chapter 10. We did skip the middle of that because I was like, let's just get to the plot. I'm sorry. You're right. About half of that episode is filler. Only half.
Thank you.
The bookend. The bookends. I literally was like, it's kind of filler. And then I was like,
oh no.
I was like, I gotta tell David. I was like, I have succumbed. But in the grand scheme of the rest of the episode, like the series, it's like that middle section on the ice planet. Once they crash, I do not care about. Also, the spider thing creeps me out way too much to want to get through it. And I'm not even that creeped out by spiders, but I was like, nah, man, I'm good. I got enough anxiety.
It's funny. We I don't know. I mean, I haven't rewatched episode chapter 9, but I wonder how I'd like it now.
You'll like it. No, you'll like it just as much because it is just that's another great standalone episode.
It's very standalone, like compared to these, where I feel like we're kind of, especially chapters 11 and 12 leading into Ahsoka, like those two. Oh my, like I don't know.
Anyway. They do so many different big movements of the plot.
Yeah,
and you know, I've been trying to build to this point for Boba Fett, but before we get to that, remember I said after Bo-Katan that the plot was going to pick up, and not only did it pick up, it literally exploded.
Yep.
We go to Navarro. Oh, it might be a filler episode. Oh no, we find out what they're doing with baby Grogu. God damn it, Grogu's blood. And and Baby Groot. It's just gonna be stuck.
Sort
in
of
my head.
find out. We get teased.
We find out just the death, and then it's like, oh, Moff Gideon's alive, and people are like, we already knew that. Yeah, but Mando did not know that.
I forgot that Mando didn't know he was alive. I just forgotten about that.
Oh, really? I remembered that. I might have rewatched the season before. Anyways,
I haven't seen season 1 since last year. So
yeah, I just watched 7 and 8, and I love 6. So it's still probably my favorite. As a standalone, 6 is up there. It's 6 and 9. Those are my two. Yeah. Nice. Those are my 2 favorite standalone episodes for sure, because they do so many great Star Wars things.
Yeah.
And they're both in a way a heist episode. And God dang it, do I love a heist episode. And then when it comes to like the plot and canon, it's Ahsoka and Bo-Katan, dude. Like I love me some Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah.
And Rosario Dawson. I love her in everything she's in. So back to this episode, like on this point, Boba Fett, we get an in-canon, on-screen explanation of Jango Fett's origin. Why is this important? In the extended universe, I don't remember if he was Mandalorian. I think he was. But in Clone Wars, Senator or Prime Minister, whatever his name is, Almac, the slimy little slimo son of a blue on Mandalore, says, Jango Fett, I have no idea how he got that armor. He is just a man. He is not Mandalorian. And this episode, we find out that Jango Fett is a foundling.
Right.
And he, by right and by creed, owns that armor.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this very important, David? That means that the clones are literally DNA, the same DNA as a genuine Mandalorian who is trained their entire life to fight off Jedi, because that is what every trick, tactic that Mandalorians have is to fight the Jedi. And that is why Jedi do not mess with Mandalorians. So we find out that. And then it's like, oh my God, Palpatine is a genius.
Right.
Because he took an enemy of the Jedi from thousands of years ago that has had thousands and thousands of years of fine-tuning and refining to get the ability to fight a Jedi. And Jango Fett does. He fends off Obi-Wan Kenobi, for God's sake.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, what a perfect Trojan horse to destroy the entire Jedi Order. Like,
yep.
That changes Attack. That makes me love Attack of the Clones more in a way that I didn't know I could.
Right.
Because I already loved the stuff with Jango and Boba and the clones, because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Everybody knows in the prequels, you follow Obi-Wan, you don't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But that blew my mind, man, when they announced that. And, you know, someone broke down what it actually says, and it looks like Jango Fett was actually trained by the future ruler of the entire planet of Mandalore.
Wow.
Right? Like, in essence, he's royalty. Because you're a foundling, you are family to that Mando.
Right.
Like,
right.
Dude, that just...
That was a really good breakdown. Yeah, that's so really cool connection with Palpatine. Like it just adds more to it, right?
Filoni and Favroni, man, they're just God, I want to kiss them in the face.
Favoloni.
No, it's Favroni, man.
Favroni.
I know. I spent weeks workshopping that. All right, it's Favroni.
Favroni, got it.
But we're gonna move on from that amazing piece of mind frackery. We get the Dark Troopers. They look awesome. I have been looking every time you start talking, I've been trying to find a clip of Grand Admiral Thrawn sparring against robots, and I can't bloody well. Oh my God, I found it. Oh my God. oh my God. Please let me save this image. The Dark Troopers are
scary.
Right here.
Yes.
So for our visual audience, I've put up an image of oh my god, Grogu is so cute. In the background is a Dark Trooper, and I'm in the process right this very second and moment of opening and uploading an image from Star Wars Rebels.
Dude,
the Dark Troopers. This is not their first appearance, David.
I know. They're scary, man. They're scary. Like,
right.
When they were flying down, it reminded me of like if Tony's armor around the world, a suit of armor around the world had like gone bad, where it's like these like robots or whatever, and like you see them flying. It was just like the way they were flying. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like.
It was very Ultron-y.
Yeah,
and I loved it. I loved it so much.
I really think the Dark Troopers are a really cool touch to like this world, and so there's really cool characters, or I don't know, beings.
Yeah, no, they're characters. They are technically characters, just like Roger. Roger. So this image right here is of Thrawn sparring with Dark Troopers. Now, as we mentioned last week, the Dark Troopers are exoskeleton infantry dudes, advanced battle droids. We're going to try and wrap this up here. What did you think? The Dark Troopers are not going away for sure, and it's going to add a new wrinkle for Mando, Din Djarin, and his hate of droidos. Look at this amazing Darksaber, bro.
It looks way better than it did in episode 8 or chapter 8.
Yes, when it's inside, it's just chef's kiss. Now, what did you think of Grogu tapping into the dark side to force choke the stormtroopers?
Is it the dark side, or is it just like self-defense?
No, it's still a dark side trait to choke people.
Okay, true. Okay, good point.
That's what it is.
Sweet. And, speaking... Cool, man. Tap into whatever you need. Defend yourself, brother.
That's the path.
Grogu should be... Yeah, yeah, right. Obviously he was just like acting off of self-defense, just his instincts. I thought that was really cool. Speaking of the article I wrote about the blue butterflies that popped up when he was on the Seeing Stone, that's it. I made reference in the article to a Darth Vader comic that I read. It was in the 2017 run. It was like issue 8 when you see Vader meditating and you see this kind of like his like almost kind of out of body experience because he's just sitting there in his physical form, but then you see this like panel of him like. It's super dark and like it's like in fire, and you see these little blue butterflies, and a lot of people speculated, me included, that that's kind of like the light side, and especially in that comic, it's fresh off of Revenge of the Sith, so you would think that like Vader and Anakin's trying to like kill off all the light side, and I guess my point in all this is when you said tapping into the dark, that all these Force users there's that struggle, right? Like let's just take this. Grogu embraced the light, what seemed to be when he was on the Seeing Stone and the force field popped up and he was reaching out with his feelings, as one could say. And then later he's tapping into a bit of the dark side with force choking the stormtroopers and throwing them around, which was awesome. It was a great scene. Opening the door and you just seeing him. It was awesome. Like that was an awesome little scene to add. But yeah, you see how both sides are present. And we have it going on here in Mandalorian. And that's kind of back to my point earlier where I like seeing the Force being used through Grogu because it's so unique compared to what we've seen before. Even Ahsoka. Ahsoka to me felt very like, this is a Jedi. Like, we've seen this before. This is a proper, like, trained person. And it's funny and fascinating to me to see the Force being used through Grogu because we've never seen it like that.
Yeah. Outside
of the end of Last Jedi when the kid grabs the broom.
Yeah, and that was just like, and
that was a little like nothing.
Yeah, it's like, obviously.
Exactly. So, anyway.
All right. Now we get into the Supreme Leader Snoke-sized portion of this. No, I'm just kidding. David, do you have any fan theories?
Nothing major. I just have one. Like I said earlier, the one I have, which isn't really much of like a fan theory. It's just that I do believe by chapter 16, in chapter 16, we will get the Beskar Staff v Darksaber fight. I think that is how the whole season ends, is like in a fight that is revolved around kind of a duel like that. I think that'd be really cool. And how it ends, we don't know. My prediction on that would be that Mando like bests him in some way, or like it's kind of circumstantial, like in a lot of like almost like at the end of Force Awakens when the planet splits apart and like you don't really know who wins, something like that. And he gets Grogu back, and they're off, and they're just running from Moff Gideon, and Moff Gideon's like on their butt or something like that, and then the season ends.
I like your idea better than my idea.
Sorry.
Because I don't think I have this feeling that maybe Grogu doesn't get saved this season.
You don't? Oh, really? Okay. I think he definitely does.
Because, I mean, look, just look at Star Wars, man. The second one, historically speaking, like Empire ends depressing as hell. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of on that boat that maybe Grogu doesn't get saved this season, because then we get more Moff Gideon, because we have to stay with Grogu and Mando as they work their way towards each other. We'll see what happens with that. When it comes to who was Grogu communing with, I have no idea in terms of Jedi. But I did have this thought. He doesn't have to technically commune with a Jedi. They just have to be Force sensitive. Ahsoka didn't say that, but that is the vibe I was getting, is anybody with Force sensitivity will be able to speak to them. From Star Wars Rebels, Windu is a character who is strong in the Force and helps guide people, and he should still be alive. I think he might have been communing with Windu and getting advice. Now, I don't really have many fan theories after that, but I want to bring up what Terry McIver has said. He says he thinks Grogu is going to shut himself off from the Force and decided to stay with Mando as a foundling. Mm-hmm. He also said that Ahsoka does mention that Grogu has tried to hide his abilities to survive. So,
right.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. Which question from Brian Crook? Which Jedi will come after the rock thingy happened? What a question.
Luke Skywalker. It'll be Sebastian Stan. I'm calling it. Kidding. But if that does happen, I'm right.
Calling it. No, I'm not. But if it does, I did. Calm down there, Mr. Politician. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of fan theories. I think okay, here's a simple fan theory that is kind of stupid and obvious. We're getting the Star Ventures, right? We've already got Boba. We've already got Finnick. Cara Dune's going to be on board, because as soon as he said they have the child, they took him. She was like, oh, hell nah. Maybe Grieve Karga, but I feel like not. I'd love Cobb Vanth, but I doubt that as well.
Me too.
Mayfeld might be. I'm springing you. You get me in here, you're free to go. I don't care. I feel like we're going to get at least a couple more. I don't know who. But at the end of the day, I think we will get Bo-Katan and Ahsoka in some way.
You gonna come back this season?
In some way. I don't know about this season.
I do not think we see either of those characters this season again.
Something tells me.
I hope
if we see anyone, it'll be Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, I agree.
And the only way that we do that, the only way we get both, is if I'm right that Thrawn is on the seat of Mandalore, and Dr. Pershing is also on Mandalore, and Moff Gideon goes to Mandalore.
That'd be sweet.
If we go to Mandalore, we get Bo-Katan and Ahsoka.
This is a hilarious comment from Terry. I love it.
Anyway. Oh, well, it has got nothing to do with that anime. I made it up. I have complete copyright. Just kidding. I don't have shit. Crap.
Anyway, I can't wait for Friday. Bottom line of all this. As per usual.
Only Monday!
and watching this episode again, like on my phone, getting ready in the morning before work. Yeah.
So not only that, but next week I'm going on a hiking trip on Friday, so I'm gonna have to be like,
Oh, wow.
"Hey, Dad, we have to watch Mando before I leave because there's no way I don't watch it during the weekend."
Yeah,
Because it'll be downloaded on my iPad. And you know what? We need to reference this. So the internet thinks, Luke Skywalker, Sebastian Stan, awesome. Some people think Leia, she's being a politician. I mean, she's being trained, but also she's a politician right now, so probably not. The other one is Ezra Bridger, the obvious one because of the Thrawn connection. And if that's the case, then we're gonna then that means we won't see Ahsoka if Ezra shows up because they don't know. Anyways, back to the plot. There was someone else that they mentioned. There was 4 Jedi. Oh, Cal Kestis from the Fallen Order games, which if he's alive, that's a good opportunity. And then that ball looking like the Zepho would be a very, very interesting.
That'd be really cool. I wonder who they cast for that.
Are you cast the actor, dude? Okay, have you watched Gotham?
Yeah. No. But like
that actor,
he's way older.
Oh my God! Oh no, makeup.
Well, I don't know. Would that look good?
All you got to do is gray his hair, give him a beard, and gray his beard. Yeah, it would totally work.
Okay,
He's a ginger.
I would
you
like
can
that.
gray that.
I think that'd be great to have that same actor. In my head, I'm just thinking that's not possible. But yeah, I guess you're right.
Are you ready for the one that people are losing their shit over?
Yes.
Mace Windu.
I know everyone's loving the Mace Windu's alive theory for whatever reason.
I know, and I won't lie. If we get Sam Jackson,
bring it on.
Yeah,
dude, imagine he comes up. That would break the internet. That'd break the internet.
That would break me.
Anyway, enough tonight.
There are so many comments we got tonight that we just did not get. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Brian Crook, I love you too. It's never homo. Why you made it weird by saying no homo, dude. It's just bro love. It's just humanity loving other humanity. Humans loving other humans. That's what I meant to say. Okay. So Randy says Grogu playing with the stormtroopers was also borderline dark side, so it will probably include Grogu's inner battle between the dark side and the light side too, talking about the future. Yeah. I like that. Terry McIver, I wonder if the ball has an actual purpose. Surely it's made of Beskar. It survived along with the staff. Good query. I also. Terry, I do get the feeling that the remnants of the Empire are trying to both clone Grogu's abilities and turn him to the dark side, perhaps as Palpatine's apprentice.
I feel like they don't care about Grogu.
They will find out because we don't know if Moff Gideon is helping try and rise the First Order or if he's doing something else. If he's on his own journey.
I don't think they have any interest in molding Grogu to be some Sith.
Well, let's be real. Palpatine would be.
True.
Because of one reason and one reason only. The essence transfer to take over Grogu's body, because then he's guaranteed 900 years of life as long as he's not killed.
Which he is killed.
Son of a bitch. Oh, no, I meant Grogu's not killed. Like the body of Grogu. That might be it, David. That might be it. And I've had this theory, and I don't think I've said it loud enough. I'm going to just throw it out here into the ether net. Perhaps they're trying to get Grogu. They're trying to make a clone strong enough for Palpatine to be in until Grogu is old enough to be able to do things, and then Palpatine will take over Grogu's body. That's possible. Very possible. Randy is being such a great fucking mind and just saying Mando still might be force sensitive. He only just started to get closer to understanding Grogu and thus himself. I like that.
Think about Finn. You right?
I needed that. Ooh. Okay. All right. There we go. I love it.
Thomas is back on board with this theory.
Back on board, baby. Mando's force sensitive. I stand by him. And then Brian Crook says Samuel L. Jackson will crush it. He don't care about no snakes on no planes. Thankfully, there's no planes in space. David, this is a good long episode. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can find me at my name, David Thompson, on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on TikTok and Instagram. And then go follow me on Twitter. It's my most active account, I would argue. David Thompson with 2 A's in the David on Twitter. Thomas, how about yourself?
You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester -actor on Facebook, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces, on Instagram, at TC Rochester Act. That is TCROCHESTERACT on Twitter. And of course, Life of Thor on YouTube, where you can find every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thor watches the Mandalorian chapter, whatever number we're on that week.
15 next week. 14 this week.
14 this week, 15 next week. And then I go hiking, and then I have like 3 days to make an entire film and edit a Thor video to get it out by Christmas Eve. That might not happen. It might be a Christmas Day special. I might be. Never mind. David, do you have anything to promote this week?
Yeah, guys, go follow me on the Direct. Go check out thedirect.com. That's where I'm writing now. Just wrote an interesting Star Wars story that I mentioned about some floating butterflies and Darth Vader and Grogu and Ben Kylo Ren's Solo. So go check out all my writing there. Writing about PlayStation and Star Wars and a little bit of Marvel. So yeah, go follow all the Direct everywhere. Go check us out. Yeah. It's a good time all around. Thomas, how about yourself?
Just our shop. If you weren't here at the beginning, please stay on at the end. We're going to play, and we're probably not going to play our intro at the end anymore. We're probably just going to play our promo at the end, just as a heads up, because we need a better outro. And by we, I mean, I just thought of this right now, so I'm blaming myself.
We could use the old outro or the old intro as the outro, theoretically.
Oh, you're a brilliant. I deleted it. Crap.
Next time.
That's please go to our shop. Today ends the Black Friday sale of $12 shirts, but the 20% off all items will still be going. I want to say, I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I believe it goes until the 20th or the 12th for our shop, which is it is LTA. Wrong. It is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. You'll be able to find everything. We have mask shirts and all of that good stuff. Oh my. Here we go. Another addition from Randy. Originally, they didn't care about Grogu dying in the experience because the doctor was trying to protect him from having too much blood taken. Ooh, thought the doctor might be their inside man to get Grogu to safety later. Son of a bitch. Randy K. Stewart called it, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes episode 35 of Lights, Thunder, Action. We did a whole show, bro. Like, it's been a day.
Yep. It's been a day. I got things to do.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you all next Monday at or around the same time. This is the way we have spoken. Appreciate you.
Bye, everyone.
Hello, I'm Thor, son of Dale, here to tell you about the Life of Thor Productions official shop, the only place where you can get your official merchandise for the Lights, Thunder, Action podcast and Life of Thor's Thor Watches series. Whether you want t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, mugs, and masks, Life of Thor Productions official shop has you covered. If you happen to recognize there's an item that you would like to buy that is not in the official shop, head over to the Lights, Thunder, Action podcast or Life of Thor and request that item, because if you want it, we'll sell it. Just head to lotproductions.threadless.com/collections to get the item that calls out to you via the Force. Again, that is lotproductions.threadless.com/collections. Thank you and have a Thor-tastic day.